Hello, everyone. This is your favorite food alchemist. I am here live. I have Dr. Nadia Brown, and she's going to talk about her writing workshop that's going on in Phoenix, Arizona. She has a book, which I want you guys to know about. It's Leading Like a Lady and How to Shatter Your Inner Glass Ceiling by Dr. Nadia Brown. Okay. Wonderful book. She was talking about management and how to break through and what some things that you can do. So she's written this book and she's got a workshop going on May 1st about this. And I wanted you guys to really get an insight. So if you have a book that is inside you and you really want to, excuse me, you really want to actually write and so forth, then this would be the perfect workshop for you to go, especially if you're in Arizona. So you would want to attend this workshop because it'll help you and guide you with some guidelines on how to write a book, like, you know, the inside, maybe the designs, how to publish the book. So this is really good. And then it also show you about your ISBN number, which you really need for your book. I don't know if you guys can see that, but when you're writing a book, you got to register this book with the library, which is really good. So it's really awesome for you to be able to do that. So it also you can also find out your reference material, and you get a barcode in the back of your book. So when you're doing that, so these are important things to know. And how to actually present your book is another thing that you need to know. Who is your target audience is another thing that you need to know when you're writing a book. And these are all things that will be coming in a workshop. So as you're developing your book, this is the workshop to go to. How to develop, how to get the content, you know, because we all have a book in us. It's just that how do we bring it out? So this workshop will help you put those contents, like your brain is going all blah, 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 blah. It'll actually put that content that is in your brain that's wobbling around and actually put it in a format where you'll be able to use it. So I'm going to bring in Dr. Brown, and she's going to talk about, we want to talk about her book, which I said, amazing book, is we talked about Leading Like a Lady and How to Shatter Your Inner Glass Ceiling. This is a very important book. I'm telling you, it helped me a lot, even with my Women in Business conference, gave me a lot of reference facts of, like, some of the things was like challenges and strategies. Hello, here you go. You need to pick up this book. You need to understand this will help you. It will give you some guidelines. So just saying. And it's wonderful. I love it. You know, we're going to go back and forth. So without further ado, we're going to bring in Dr. Brown. I'm sorry to take up so much of that time. How are you, my dear?
I am great. How are you? You cracked me up.
I just wanted them to know what's going on. This helped me out really a lot because, as you know, I know about business, but how to help women in business, that was not a forte of mine. And actually, one of my challenges was actually standing up. And as you noticed, when we went to Summit, I'm not used to talking in front of people on a camera, different, but actually standing up there and going, my brain goes, it shuts down. And then on the show, it kind of shut down again. It's like, okay, I'm actually talking to all these women. But when I'm on my show, because I'm comfortable, so it's different. So this book gave me a lot of insight and a lot of things of mine and words like we use and the vibration that we use, and people don't think that they matter, and how you carry yourself in confidence. So that was very crucial for our meeting this morning for Women in Business. So thank you so much for
You're welcome.
agreeing to be on here. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for
So,
pulling it together.
so I want for people that don't know, Dr. Nadia Brown. Uh, she's an author. She's an entrepreneur. She's been in the corporate world for quite some time, so she knows the dynamic of what it takes. And being that she published this book, she knows about how to get it out there, what it takes, the steps, because her book is out there. And not only is her book, and it's in Barnes and Nobles. You can pick up this book as well as picking it up from herself. Now, some of the books nowadays are just coming out on Amazon and ebook. They're not like they used to be in Barnes and Noble, but you have this wonderful opportunity to learn how to actually get your book in Barnes and Noble. That's something we all need to know about. That's just me. Okay. So, so tell them a little bit about yourself. But I don't know, like, where are you from?
Absolutely. So thanks again, Chef Ceci, for having me on the show. Again, entrepreneur. I'm the founder and CEO of Doyenne Leadership Institute. I work with women in corporate, women entrepreneurs, women CEOs, because we're doing our thing. It's fabulous. And one of the questions that I honestly hadn't expected, so this kind of took me by surprise, and I hate to admit it, but I resisted it for a long time, was once I finished my book, people had questions, how do I do that? And I was like, that is not what I do. So why are you asking me all these questions? But I've had clients who we may be working on a different project in their business, but a lot of times it'll still circle back and we talk about books. What's the process? How do I get it written? What do I need to do to get it out there, get it published? How do I have my book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, the iBookstore? How do I make it available globally? I was just telling my husband last night that our book sales in the UK are actually picking up. So that's really exciting to just see these different things taking place. I know I was like, wait, what? So it's really nice to be able to have it, but I learned that the hard way in terms of I didn't necessarily have someone walking me through all these steps. So I did the research. I made decisions based on my big vision, not only for the book. I knew that there were more books that I was going to write, but also for my business. And that's why, so some of the things we'll cover is ISBN. You have a number of different options. And when authors reach out to me, I ask them, what is the vision of your book? Because that will drive your decision to purchase an ISBN and have you be the owner of that ISBN. And what does that look like? Do I need to have a business entity? There are reasons why that might be beneficial, that to your advantage. So again, these are the business side of it is just as important as actually doing the writing. And I think sometimes we get so focused on I have to write, which is important, but there's a business piece to that too, which means taxes. The IRS wants their share. What does that look like? Depending on, I know our first workshop is actually in person regarding this subject, but definitely looking at what happens when we start talking to people outside of Arizona. But in Arizona, you're looking at, we have state taxes and you need a business license, and there are certain things you have to do around getting that in place before you actually start selling your book, especially at events such as the summit and things like that, to keep you out of legal trouble because you don't want that headache. And so just walking people through that, because there's so many little nuances to actually producing a quality book. And just because you self-publish doesn't mean that your book has to look like it's homemade. Like, there are ways that you can publish a very professional, well-polished product that people really love and enjoy, and like you said, get it out there. So I am just super excited to share my knowledge. I put together a checklist. Like I said, I've had clients who we work with one-on-one with doing books, and I've talked them through the checklist, and here's what you need to do. And part of it was just me being selfish, like, here's a checklist, take it, go forth and do whatever you want to do. And people came back like, no, I have questions about this and this. And so it'll be a great time to come and get your questions answered. If you're working on a book project, bring it with you so we can take a look at where you are. Marketing is a huge piece of it. Like you mentioned, you have a show. I do a lot of speaking around the country. And so our marketing plan may look a little different from someone who doesn't have that. How can you start making money on your book before you finish the book? I did that. I had sold books before I even finished writing the book. How do you do that? And I'll let you in on a little secret. There is nothing more motivating to get that book done than when you've taken someone's money and they're expecting an actual finished product. So there are all of these different ways to leverage marketing your book. There are ways and strategies to actually get the writing done in a relatively short amount of time. It doesn't have to take years to write your book, but if you've been working on it for years, that's not a bad thing either. We can get it done. By the end of 2015, you can have a solid book ready to go in all these different formats. And we'll talk about that too. How do you have the book in the print version, which Chef Ceci held up and shared that. But then also the book, like my book is available Kindle, Nook, iBook, so you can have also the virtual books formats as well to leverage that. And there's a process. There are certain things you need to know and understand when you put together your timeline. And we'll talk about all of that at this workshop. So yeah, while I know it's only 3 hours, we're gonna hit the ground running and get a lot covered. So I hope you can make it out.
Well, I will be there. I will definitely be there because I'm working on 2 books, and one is about the body, the face, and it's just starting with the head. And we take a lot for granted, and how to diagnose and how to treat and stuff that I just think about that you do every day. I thought everybody knew about pulling. And my friend said, pulling? I said, you don't know what pulling is? She was like, no. I was like, oh, everybody does. I'm thinking, oh, well, don't you wash your eyes? Don't you do an eye wash? Huh? And I said, okay. And I'm scratching my head because this is something I've been doing for a long time, and I just take for granted that everybody knows. Oh, well, if your tongue is this way, well, you know that something's wrong, right? No. Okay, if your teeth is this, and I'm going, okay. They don't know. And it shocked me. I said, okay, well, that's one book to explain that. Then I said, okay, well, we were talking about the alchemy book, which talks about all the different holistic treatments in which they can seek out and help them with. So I was like, okay, well, I need to get these done. And I need to get these done during the summer. Well, I'm going to be traveling. And to me, this would be the perfect time to work on these books. So in my retreat that we do in Belize, guess what? They'll understand a lot more and have them with that. So it works perfectly with that. So when you're writing a book, you want it to go with something, which you're saying it gave you motivation to actually write. Like a lot of people don't know that. Like, oh, you can collect the money before. Or they have, what is that thing? GoFund or Fund Me or something like that. And it necessarily doesn't have to be like that. So I know that you're going to give them other avenues to work with, and especially about publishing and editing. Editing is so important. Are you going to talk about that? Because I'm going to tell you, my first book, there was a lot of editing mistakes, and I trusted someone else to do that. And when it came out, for me, it was not how I would visualize. And it looked like a little kid's book. So I'm like, oh, wow, you want to step it up a notch, and you're going to help them decide if books come in different, like this, like 8 by 11 and, 10 by 5 or whatever, and how the words and the gloss and non-gloss and all that stuff. I was not familiar with that. When I started writing the book, I was like, oh, what? Okay. Right. So these are the questions that you're going to be able to answer for them, because we don't think about it. It's just, okay, well, I got this book down. Well, yes, now what is the next step? And how to choose the appropriate publishing company, or to do self-publishing and still let it be, like you said, look proper, like an adult book, not a child book, but for a self-published book, for it to look really great. And that's something that we need to know. Everybody has a book, but they don't know the next step. And
Mhm.
I know in those 3 hours, they're going to come with a concept as well to be able to finish and know where to go from there, which is really amazing. And what the difference about PDF form
Mhm.
and converting. So these are the questions that I know people are going to ask you. If I don't have PDF form, can it be done in a notepad and transferred, or can I do it handwritten? Old school. How does that translate? Do I get a dictator? These are a lot of things that I know I had as a question. I just dictated my book and sent it to somebody with the pictures and the recipes. Okay. And I didn't check back. So I'm liking that you're going to be able to explain to them how to go back and make sure your book is developing what you want it to do and having that clear, crystal communication, which is going to be
That's
awesome.
great. Yes, it is huge. I'm glad you brought up editing because honestly, editing would probably be, when you look at your budget, your biggest expense. And you want to get a good editor, and there are different types of editors, so I won't get bogged down in those details. But you definitely want to make sure, like you said, when you have an editor, to go back and correct those grammatical and spelling mistakes or things. And it's not that you're not a good writer or you're not intelligent. It's just that you're too close to it. This is your baby. You're way too close to it. You have all this information up here that you've had in your head for so long, and now you're sharing it, and your finger, you're typing, but your fingers can't keep up with your brain, and you just don't see what you don't see because you're working on this a lot of times day in and day out. And so you need to be able to step away from it. So it's nice to be able to now hand it off to someone. They look through it, and now when you look through it again, you can look through it with fresh eyes. And so yeah, it's just, and then you sit there and you go back and you're like, how in the world did I miss that? It's just simple stuff. But again, we're human. And so I encourage everyone to make the investment in getting a fabulous editor to look through. And then you'll have to also look at who's going to lay out the book, how the book, like you said, looks on the pages. Do you want breakout quotes? Do you have pictures?
Right. This is so great to understand about the format of the book. So when people, go ahead.
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
there's so many different options that you have, and it's those where the details really get into. And we talk about your timeline. So things that you can think about when you're looking at your timeline, especially when you start doing pre-sales. I plan to have my book done by September. Then let's work backwards so we can build in some cushion, because you need time for the editor to look it over. You may need to add some stuff, then they need to look it over. Now you need to have it laid out. Which format is going to be first? Is it going to be available on Kindle first for 90 days, and then you'll make it available in other places? Like, there are different promotions that you can do. There are different launch strategies that you can have. But let's think about all that, because there are some bumps that you may hit along the way. Take it from me, I had my own share of bumps along the way to getting it launched. But so just sharing those strategies, and like you said, you have book ideas in your head. Other people will come with theirs. And one thing I just wanted to point out, Ceci, is we actually are going to be a small group. So we won't have more than 20 people in the room. So this is really a time for you to get some personalized attention, really get your questions answered, get going on that book project. So even if you haven't started and it's just an idea, come, you'll walk away with my checklist that I put together for my private clients. I will share that information with you, so you will have something in hand when you walk away. And literally, I've had clients come to me and they're like, here's my checklist, and they just check off what they've done and they just roll through it. I'll also have resources, because I am not an editor. I am not a book cover, a graphic designer. I'm not your layout specialist. Those are not my things, but I've worked with people, so I have wonderful recommendations for people to connect with, and then you let them know that you were referred by me, and they'll be more than happy to assist you with your book project. So definitely come out, and it will be worth every penny. I have friends look at me and say, how much are you charging for that? You can charge much more, but it's just something I'm really passionate about, and just excited to just help people, because I see
Yes. I love that.
So many people just say, hey, Nadia, will you talk to me about how you got your book started? I have more questions around some of these little things that need to get done. And I'm like, oh, let's just do this, click here, press here, done, you're ready. And it's just like, it was that easy? Yes, it was that easy. So I think sometimes the fear of the unknown is what keeps us from getting our projects done. I know before I wrote my book, no. So it was a little scary, but now that I've gone through that process, I've done my homework, I can answer your questions. Um, let's just come and have a conversation and know it's going to be a small, intimate group. Like I said, not more than 20 people. We'll have refreshments. We won't let you starve to death while you're in the class. It's a beautiful location. We're going to be up in Scottsdale at Gainey Ranch. Beautiful, beautiful location. And just come, bring your project, and let's just get it done. Don't let another year go by where you end the year and you have not finished your book.
See, I like that. So tell them the exact address where you're located and what the time is. It is going to be from 1 to 4.
Yes.
So that they will be able to know that it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's for you people, Arizonas. You need to get up on this quickly while you can. So maybe we can talk her into actually doing a course online. You know, I'm just putting that out there. I'm feeding you.
I'll
So,
think about it. But yeah, so we are meeting next Friday, May 1st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. We'll be at Gainey Ranch. And that address is 7600 East Gainey Club Drive in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. The cost of the event, your investment, is only $59. You cannot beat that with a stick. And some of the topics that we'll cover are the exact strategy. What strategy I use, it may not work for you. So we'll talk about your style and put together a customized strategy just for you. When, why, and how to purchase your ISBNs. There's a process for that. Why and how to establish a business entity before publishing your book. I look this one, licenses, fees, taxes. Oh my.
right. And that's
all about the fees. Yes, because you have to have a budget, but you also don't want to get a call from the IRS. Marketing strategies and much more. So come with your questions. Like I said, we're going to have a very small group. If you want to email me ahead of time your questions so you can make sure, like Dr. Nadia, no, I want you to make sure that you get my questions answered. Do that, and we will definitely make sure that you are well taken care of.
okay. I like that. So we're going to do this. And like I said, this is Dr. Nadia's book. So let me show y'all. I don't know if y'all can see this. Y'all see this pink? Let's see. This what makes us stand out when you go to business meeting. So this is an example of her work of showing she knows what she knows. So she speaks the talk, she walks the talk, and now she's got this book published. Hello. Look how it's beautifully laid out. Like I said, I was trying to show them like the IBN number and the things, how it's done, and the spacing, which is very important when you're writing a book, and the table of contents. You know, that is very, very important, your table of content. And some books actually don't have them. My book didn't have it. So and then they'll explain about why there's a blank sheet on the back of the book. So that's important to know too. Like I said, it's all about the formatting, the font size you have to choose, the not only the sizes, everything of how you want it to be. Do you see the different fonts that's there? This looked like a Lucindia writing, looks like, but I don't know. And this looks like either Roman Times or Arial. These are different fonts that you can use. And look how this is, that it actually looks like it's shattering the word. This is very important when you're writing a book because it stands out. She doesn't just like, well, book is one color. It's, look, pink up at top, reading like a lady, and then the brown, how to shatter the inner glass thing. And it looks like glass is really shattering. So that's very important when you're writing a book, and they're going to help you. She's going to help you how to capture that audience, because we as a, I call us micro society, where, oh, if you don't have it this minute, we're gone. But you're catching your attention right there where it's devastating. I think we all have what they call ADD, ADHD. Like we're just, oh, if it doesn't catch your attention, we're gone, because it didn't right away catch us to grab our attention. So how you write your book is very important, and how you present it and the tone.
Yeah.
Are you going to put it in? People don't realize. Are you going to put it? Are you going to write in the third person? Are you going to write it in the first person? Are you know which personality are you going to write this book in, and how you come from? Is it going to be your experience? Is it going to be research? And if it's research, is that your audience? You got to have the verbiage to be able to write these books in that verbiage that people understand. If you're writing to a kid, you got to be able to put it in their terms, even though you're the adult writing a kid's story. So what voice you use is very important. And then you can discuss this with her. Write questions. Like you said, you have questions, email her, write her, talk to her. When you come in a workshop, just don't come in empty handed, okay? Because you want to come in with some kind of knowledge of, like, okay, this is what I want to do. If you want to write this book, you come in, okay, I'm my book. I got my questions. I got my pen. I want to be ready. This is very important. You want to have some solid questions that you yourself thought about, because this is serious business. When you put this out, um, it's you. This is a representation of you and who you are. That's what it says. This is me. Here I am. I am transparent as can be. So you want that. So have your questions. How do I make myself approachable? Supposing you're just aloof, or don't not a very personable person. There are some people like that are introverted, don't like people, but like to explain what they have, but they don't know how to come across people. These are the questions that you write down. How do I make my book be personable? Just giving you some questions and some things that you can do. It'll help. It's going to help in the long run. I'm telling you, you're going to get the questions that you need, and you're going to get only 20 people. It's very personable. So it's not like 150 people going into a room. And you know how that is, like you go into, like, going to college. Oh, I'm going to college, and your head is down. You do not make a difference. You can't raise your hand because they're trying to address so many general questions, but you're getting basically one on one, 20 to 1. And a resource list. So information already, Q&As that have been asked already in person, and you have that list and you have the resources that you want to take your time and look and read what she has and listen to what's going on. And then even in the dialect as she's talking, you can write down your questions. And then, raise your hand, have a question, and approach it. Have some kind of format. And if you don't, she can help you make an outline of some questions about your book. Okay, well, I want to write about hair. No, I don't really want to write about hair, but that's, you know, you know, but that's some key things, like what makes it different, what makes your story different than anybody else.
Mhm.
And that's where you stand out. So this is why you want to go to the workshop. This is why you want to be part of it. May is here. Mother's Day is here. What better way to start Mother's Day, the summer, graduation, all the things of a new season, summer equinox, than to put it on fire with a book that's within yourself, that maybe by the winter you have it done. Know your deadline. And also, she can tell you about being committed and writing a book, dedicating that time of writing your book. No disturb, no phone calls, shut yourself in the door, turn the phone off, do whatever you got to do. Setting up an area of how to write your book and when you're going to do it, and letting people know I cannot be disturbed. Or, even going to a park. So these are some of the things that you want to be aware of, that you can actually write your book. You don't necessarily have to be at home if you're a mom, because mom this, mom that, auntie, grandma, da 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 da, and then the phone rings. Well, when you're going to get in your moment, turn your phone off and let people know, I'm not going to be available from this time or this time. Set it up like you have an appointment with yourself. Like I tell people, do you date yourself? I know people think it's crazy. I date myself a lot. I just go to the movies by myself. Have that me time. Date yourself, but also write in your time when it's your time, and just sit down and devote it, which people don't think about. Is that what you did when you wrote your book? Did you have a me time or set up scheduled time, or you just, once it start flowing, it just went?
That's a great question. I I would add one, know yourself. So for me, the best time for me to write is early in the morning before I get started with my day. So I would get up at some pretty insane hours to get my writing done. The hardest part is getting started. Once you get started, the ideas just really start to flow. I wanted to circle back to some other comments that you made. One, I love my book cover and I can't take credit for it. I have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous cover designer, and I was probably the worst client he ever had because all I told him was I want pink and a glass stiletto. Like, I didn't tell him anything else until he produced the final product. I was like, oh, I love it. So, and that's one of the things we talk about, getting a fabulous designer who can really capture the vision that you have for your book and put it out there for your cover. The other piece I wanted to just add is, what better way to establish yourself as a leader and an authority in your industry than by producing a book? Having a book has just continued to add to my speaking engagements. I was just invited to be part of a radio show this week, and she was like, oh my gosh, I love your book. I love your title. Will you talk about that? And so it has definitely helped me to grow my business, to help get the word out for me. And again, we sold books internationally. So, and I haven't had to leave Arizona. So I haven't had to brave the cold or be on a plane for many, many hours to sell a book and to reach people across the world. So what better way to get your story out? And like you even mentioned, Ceci, there are things that you know that we take for granted. People don't know about these things. Sharing your story to encourage other people is so powerful. And you think no one's interested, no one cares. And some of the stories that I shared in my book that I thought, oh my gosh, the only person that really cares about that is me, only to find out that others have requested that story. Like, I want to hear more about this. Tell me, Nadia, share your granny story, share the colors, share this. And I'm like, really? Don't you want to hear about these technical? No, we don't care about all that. Share this. So you'll be surprised at what people actually take away from your book. But it's truly a labor of love. There is some discipline that needs to be in place. I love your idea of just getting away. Coffee shop, park, anywhere away from home. It's amazing how important washing dishes becomes when you're supposed to be writing. And so just doing all of those things to get your message out. So I can't wait. As we talk about it, I get more and more excited. I'm like, Chef Ceci, I gotta go put my PowerPoint together so we can be ready for next week's presentation. So again, send me your questions ahead of time if you know what your questions are, or if not, just bring them with you. You'll get that personalized attention to make sure you get all of your questions answered and you're able to walk out ready to get that book done. We'll talk real numbers. What does an actual budget look like? Where are some areas you might want to consider, depending on how much time you have, how to work that out. It's not as expensive as it may seem. And so how does that work? So we'll definitely talk about all of those different things and just some of the hidden things that you might not expect. So there were some expenses that I bumped into that I hadn't planned for. And so again, learn from my mistakes, learn from my bumps in the road, but also learn from my successes. I was able to have a successful launch. We did a pre-launch at pre-sales, had a book party, celebrated it. It was fabulous. And so there have definitely been those successes as well. And it's nice to just get those emails and those royalty checks saying, oh, there's been money deposited into your account while you were sleeping. So that's also nice.
And your book becomes your part of your brand, which people don't realize too. That could help them in business because it says they're an expert now.
Yeah,
like, you are. My question is, okay, now how can the people pay? Can they pay when they come to the event? This is something that really, real like, can they pay when they come to the event and RSVP there? Or can they pay by PayPal? Or can they pay by Visa? How can they pay? How does it work? Or how would it work for you?
We have a registration page where you can pay by PayPal, so you can have that covered. If for whatever reason you need to pay at the door, please let us know that you're coming so we can make sure we have materials, we have refreshments, we can let the site know that we're going to have X amount of people so that you don't feel like you've been overlooked. So just let us know ahead of time so we can manage all that. But and actually I'll just post it here so you'll have the link to go online and register, so we'll know that you're coming here in the chat box.
Okay.
It's also on my website, so if you go to doyenneleadership.com/events, you will be able to register there. So you'll see May 1st we're having a workshop, and it'll say register here. Click the link, it'll take you to the registration page, and then you can get registered. But again, we have spaces limited. We can't have more than 19 people, so we are limited. We're really limited to a small group. So again, let us know ahead of time if you're going to be there. But we prefer that you just go ahead, pay online, so we have it covered, and we can make sure that your materials and your refreshments are taken care of.
That makes sense. Now, see, that'll be there because I'll be there, and I'm going to see how many other people want to come, because I know when I go, I like to bring people with me. Well, I usually bring my daughter, my assistant, with me. But unfortunately, Friday is her class, so she'll be in class on Friday. So she's in college courses. So it's not like I can drag, my child and say, you got to miss class to go with mom. But usually that's what I do. I take my baby with me, and she'll learn. And it's always her because she's got a lot of books, and she writes all the time. She just sits there and writes books all the time. And I've been doing that since I've been a kid, and then think about it like, who would actually want to read my books? And they would be 100 and 236 pages. My mother would be like, okay, now what are you doing again? Have all these stacks of 3 books, and they're like 500 pages. She's like, and this is one story. So when I went into the service, my mom had 22 books of me writing 500-page stories.
Wow.
And she didn't know what to do with them. So she threw them in the trash, and she was like, well, they were, well, she got to remember, she didn't think it was that important. It was just that I was writing, because that's all I did. I would always write. Oh, I would create a story. It was like, well, I didn't like romance stories. And I said, oh, I can just change. I didn't like recipes. Or, I didn't like how that history was. I didn't like reading about the Tibetan, monks and Enochs and stuff like that. And I was weird as a kid. I'm telling you, just kind of stuff that you see, and I'm like, oh wow, they did that to people. Wow. And I would just write about it, and my mother goes, okay. It was just like, what is this child doing? And it's like, oh well, I just wrote it because I felt like it. So, and it's okay because it helped me write more stories of cookbooks and understanding. So when I read, I'm in a better, as I say, in a better place of writing. So that helped. That just lingered to my gift, and my child does the same thing. And she's like, Mom, I don't like these stories. I said, then write something better. She's like, huh? I said, if you don't like something, don't complain about it. Turn it around where you want to. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Write what you want and write the ending that you want it to. Oh, so everybody has a book. If you have a daughter that is 16 or 17, this would be the perfect opportunity to bring them to this workshop. So writing is not just for the older crowd, it's for the young crowd. And they have books they want to share. And some people with medical issues, this is also a perfect workshop for them because they're telling it from a child's point of view. And it's going to be well received by their peers because of what they're writing. So mom and dad, if you're out there, I'm saying this is an opportunity not only for you as the adult, but as a child, for them to get their voices heard and writing. If you see have a child that's always writing, this is a perfect workshop. If you have a child just has this great imagination that says, I want to be this awesome writer and in sci-fi, this would be a perfect workshop to you to all hone in all these skills and be able to put it on a piece of paper or somebody else is reading and understand it. That is my advice to everybody. You can do it. Don't don't let your fears step outside your fears, ladies and gentlemen. Fear is just an illusion. That's what I tell people. Fear is an illusion. Anything that's negative is an illusion. Everything positive is your reality. That's how I see it. I know people like, oh, when I say love and light and possibilities and that you're wonderful, I really mean that because you are wonderful. Because I think I am. I think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you know what I mean. So I want you to think you're the greatest thing since they invented a rock. you know, that's it's about having that confidence and self assurance. And when you're writing that, it comes across in your book, which is very important. So I want you to also talk to them about the Danye leadership, exactly what you do and how it helps a lot of people in the community, but also not only in the community, but outside the community because you're reaching more people, just not in your community, but you're going outside. You did Phenomenal Woman, business, business, adventure, you're doing this workshop, so you did the success summit, so you're really doing great things. And then I know you have something coming up for the retreat with the natural path that you have going on, so explain some things about them so they really know exactly where you're at, so they can go, okay, they understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. So, again, I'm the founder and CEO of Doyenne Leadership Institute. Doyenne stands for, it means standout woman leader. So I really focus on helping women embody their authentic leadership style, being confident as women leaders, but also just embodying and owning our strength as women in leadership. And that's not just indicative, obviously, to women in corporate America, but I also work with entrepreneurs. So one of my projects that I just have to sometimes zip it is that we're working on an academy specifically for women entrepreneurs and CEOs around our unique needs in the marketplace, our unique needs as business owners, and how do we get our businesses going? Because research shows that only about 10 to 12% of us ever surpass six figures, $100,000, which in society today that isn't a ton of money, but it does put you in a good position to do things that have a greater impact. As Ceci mentioned, I am always on the go all over the country. So some recent events I was a keynote speaker at the Phenomenal Woman Empowerment Conference. I spoke at the Success Masters Summit. I am also doing this writing workshop. I'll be a speaker at the Powwow Retreat on the weekend of May 16th. Fabulous retreat. That's also going to be in Scottsdale. So if you're in town and want to get away, definitely do that. I'm hosting my own retreat in October. We'll be over in beautiful, sunny San Diego, California for 5.5 days, right there on the beach. So I am so excited about that. And again, just doing workshops, webinars, seminars, whether it's in person or over the web or video. I'm doing more videos. So I just launched this week the Leading Like a Lady 101 series, where we're talking about what does it mean to lead like a lady? What are some of the challenges that we're doing? And I have the exact opposite challenge of Ceci. I don't like video. So for me, it's taking me out of my comfort zone to sit down and record videos and then share it on YouTube and share it in social media. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But when I'm in the front of the room, it's a completely different experience. But I'm getting out of my comfort zone. How do I leverage it? I can't be everywhere at the same time. So there are things that we're getting put in place right now to help me have a greater reach, a greater impact. And I just want to note that while I typically work with women mostly, the writing workshop is not limited to just women. We actually had a man register today. So fellas, don't think that this is an excuse. I know I wear a lot of pink. My book is pink. My cards are pink. But this is your book. This is your project, and it can be whatever color you want it to be. So this is open to both men and women. Come on out, enjoy the workshop. Definitely go get registered. Space is limited. People are registering, so we're expecting to fill this up and sell out. Because people have books, they have stories they want to share. They've been sitting on this, and I'm not there about the fluff. I just want to tell you how to get it done. So let's just get in here. Let's talk about how to get it done. What do you need? What resources can I connect you with to help you to
move forward, which I really like.
your book?
So that's awesome. Well, the camera freezes from now and then. So when you freeze, I kind of talk. So that's why you hear me talking. It's just one of those things. Like I tell them, it's a technical glitch. I don't usually talk all the time, but technical glitch. I'm learning. This is I've really only recently started doing a lot of Google Hangout. I usually do it on Skype and do a lot of my calls on Skype. And record on Friday. And then I said, I'm representing a brand on Friday, but am I fully representing my brand? Mm-hmm. So this is me representing the Food Alchemist brand and bringing to everyone what I feel they need to know and giving them information by doing video and doing the Google Hangout so people can come in and chat and be personable. And have the questions answered, like, okay, like, what is it going to cost? Like, what do I do? And things like that. So people will really get the hang of this, because this is something new. To me, this is almost like back in the day, they used to have a PayPal, or it was some kind of networking thing. And I would be talking to somebody in Ireland and another person in Pal Talk. That's what it's called. Mm-hmm. Ireland and France. And I love it. I was like, oh, yes. I do this all the time. I'd be talking to them. And that's my thing. I mean, I love talking to people from different countries. I always have. And I've been doing it. My daughter's 23. I've been doing this for 20 years, talking to people on the internet. But this time of actually, this is different. It's old, but it's new. Does that make sense? Like Pal Talk, you go in a room and you sit there and you talk to people, where this is my own personal room, and you come and you talk to me. So this is good. So now when you do your one-on-one sessions, are they going to be live? Are they going to be live sessions with you that they're going to be able to talk with you on camera?
Say that one more time.
Are the one-on-one session, like Donna Leadership 101, are the people going to be able to talk with you one-on-one, or like answer questions? Are you going to do a Q&A and then talk to them? Or are they going to be able to be in and be live and be part of the audience?
It depends. So typically, like in June, we haven't released the advertising yet, but we're planning to do another webinar. Right now, the platform that I use, it's not set up this way where you can see me, but you are able to see the PowerPoint presentation. You also have the ability to ask me questions either over the phone, or there's a chat box where you can upload questions and then I can read them and answer them that way. We're looking at exploring some different platforms to kind of give us a little more wiggle room. So we'll see. When I work with my one-on-one clients, our private clients, we typically just jump on the phone. But like you said, I love Skype, so I use Skype too. So if we want to do a Skype call, we can. Or if they're local, we can always meet in person at a coffee shop or something. But typically we're moving, we're busy, I'm on the go, I'm liable to not be in town. So we just have to leverage whatever technology is available to us to get it out there. So yeah, I'm definitely flexible.
See, that's good to know. So ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to give you your website where people can contact you.
So yes,
Say
my website is doyenneleadership.com, and Doyenne is spelled D as in David,
D.
O-Y-E.
Okay.
So Doyenne leadership.com. And if you go to the events tab, again, you'll see the information for the workshop. You'll see the registration link. It'll talk to you about some of the things we'll cover, and it'll allow you to go ahead and get registered. And then if you want to send your questions, you can reach me at Dr.Nadia at doyenneleadership.com. And that is DRNADIA. So go ahead and get those questions in so we can customize this workshop just for those people that'll be in attendance. And again, gentlemen, you are welcome. You are invited. This is not an excuse to stay home and hide out. But come on out, get your book done, and let's make it happen.
I like that. See, so you guys didn't even think you're part of the equation. You're a leader too. You got a book in you. Hey, hey. I'm doing my little dance. So we're going to include everybody, like I said, from the young to the old. Everybody has something, a story they want to tell, which is really wonderful. So I wanted to say, is there anything else? We talked about your book. We talked about your workshops. We talked about who you are and where you're going to be and how they can contact you. Do you have any advice out there for people right now that are writing their book? What would you give? The advice would you give them?
I would just say keep going, keep writing. It's a process. Don't compare yourself to other people. Their journey is different. And actually, each book journey, what worked for me when I wrote the first book is not working with this second book. And I have to be okay with that. You know, you make adjustments, life happens, but just keep going. Don't give up.
See, that's wonderful. And everybody needs to hear that. Not only about your book, but in life and your business. Do not give up and do not compare yourself to other people that have been in business. You might think they just sprang up, but you don't realize somebody might have been doing this for 15 years where it's finally taken them 15 years to cap off. So everybody has different experience for a reason. So I want you guys to be aware of that and pat yourself on the back and
Yes.
say you're doing a good job. Even if nobody's patting you on the back, you pat yourself on the back. You be that rah-rah, be your own cheerleader and know that anything that you want, you can accomplish, whether it be your book, your business, and the things that you want to go. And don't let someone tell you or define who you are and what you are or your business. You be the head person of what your business and what you want to be defined as. That's my advice to everybody.
Yes.
Like it's different. And that's what I learned. It's my road is different than your road, and I don't like to compare myself. And back in the day, my thing was I was always worried about what other people thought because I didn't want them. I was a people pleaser. I didn't want people to be disappointed. And then as you get older, as my aunt Alice would say, as you get older, you don't care what people think. It's
Right.
what you think and what matters to you. And I'm young saying this. So she was about 73, my Aunt Alice. The sweetest Southern woman you ever want to meet. And meaning she'll cuss you out in 1 minute and love you in the next. But meaning that when she said her words, they were with meaning and she meant them with love. But if you disrespect her, she's a real Southern woman, and she didn't play. So that stuff that you can get on over on the other people with up north, don't try that with her. It just didn't work. And that's why I loved her. She could bake, she could cook and speak her mind, and very boisterous when you think of her. She smoked back in the day before women were really supposed to be smoking. I don't agree with that, but that's what she did. She knew how to make moonshine and peach cobblers and cannon. She was just she's one of those aunts that everybody wants, them aunties everybody want to have, and always encouraging to the girls as well as the boys, and being so spiritual and understanding. So if you don't have someone like that, take that character and put it in the back of your mind and use it as your character if that's your need to be pat on and to uplift yourself, and keep it moving. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what they're thinking, because sometimes we don't have that support. Sometimes you're going to make your own support. And that's another thing. You know, going to this workshop, you're going to develop a relationship with people that you might see there that is going to be able to help you in the long run, or you're going to help them and be their pat on their back or be their support and be encouraging, because you're close now. When you come in a close group, you build up relations and a relationship, and it's there, and it's just not there for the moment. So when you go to something like this is what you need. That's just what I'm saying, you know. So I want people to be aware. You're building relationships as you go, and they're going to be positive, especially when you're writing a book. When you're writing a book, it's very, you're having a relationship. That's your baby, like you said. You know, everything is important of what you have to say.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I say to people. I want people to know. I want to thank Dr. Nadia Brown for being on my show and talking about her workshop. We're going to post this, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be on YouTube, of course, but we're going to post this on Facebook. We're going to put this in some of these writers on Facebook, so you'll get to see this. So people out there, this is why it's there. I want you to go there. I want you to be able to go to the workshops and some of these things, so you'll get an understanding. You can contact her as a leader, as a woman in business, as well as a fellow sister, and men too. Like you said, she said she's working on it. You know, this you can come to. So it's not just a woman's thing. It's not a woman's party. It's a everybody writing party. So you
Yes.
can come. You have a book inside of you and you want it published, contact her. And you might even be able to contact her where she can help you on a consultation side of actually getting a book if you can't make it to the workshop. We want you to make it to the workshop, but if not, you can reach out to her and see if she would do consultation with you and help you on the side. So
I've
that,
worked with private clients who put together their book, so that is an opportunity for continued support. But if you just want to get out and get some information and hit the ground running, just come to the workshop and let's get it done.
there you go. See? Can't beat that. So everybody, I want to say love, light, life, longevity, and always much prosperity to all of us. Just not me, but all of us. And I'm your favorite food alchemist, and you've been with me on Food Alchemy channel. Thank you, everyone. And I want to say blessings, and we're signing off.
Thank you. Bye bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye bye. How do we do this? Okay, cut it off.